Welcome back to another episode of Hoot and Poop. So I hope you have enjoyed my previous video that I talked about, the two co-founder of Upstart. So in today's video, I will be talking to you about the third co-founder, okay, as well as their CFO, and I'll also bring in a little bit on, looking at their board of directors. Okay, so without further ado, let's move on to the video. Okay, so just to recap, these are the so-called the management team for Upstart. So we have already talked about the two co-founder, Dave and Paul. Okay, so today I'll be talking about Anna, and after that Sanjay, who is the CFO. Okay, for the rest of it, I will not go through in them, but if of course you can also apply the similar concept as how we look at their profiles and so on. Right. So let's move on to Anna, who is the third co-founder. So in terms of the roles, Anna basically is in the people and operations segment. Okay, so likewise, all right, Anna works with Dave previously, okay, in Google. So basically, she has spent quite a fair bit of time in Google from 2007 to 2012. During her time at Google, she headed a lot of different portfolios. So she was the manager of online sales and operations. After that, she moved on to head of premium services and customer programs. So if I look at it this way, yes, you do have some engagement, with people looking at her experience. So she said this in her interview. Okay, it's that Google is constantly changing and improving for the better. She's using this concept. How can they bring this kind of mindset, into Upstart and to help people, to take loans, without any long credit history. So this is where they want to, what and now want the mindset that she wants to bring in, and this kind of mindset, where they help, young people without any long credit history to take loans, it's similar to what Paul has said in his own interview. So basically, all these are extracted from an interview that Anna has. I also pasted the link in the comments below. So the third point that I gotten out from the interview is that when she what kind of mindset as a management she wants to bring in to Upstart, right? Basically, she wants to bring in a transparent mindset where opportunities are always given to employees, regardless how old or how young you are. Now the thing is that she actually said in the interview, she actually said something that actually resonates a lot. So she said this: for younger people, okay, when you don't really have much credentials, we don't really have much long history to prove your worth, your capabilities in Upstart. Okay, now naturally, your chances of shining may not be super high. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you cannot shine. It means to say that whatever things that you're doing, you may not like it at start. Always do your best. Always constantly strive to improve. Show it. Let your supervisor knows about it, and from then on, with a reasonable build up of your experience, you can then start to shine better, right, in all the artsy kind of concept. So I feel that this is actually pretty much relatable to me. I mean, this is, if I interpret the video correctly, I feel that it's really pretty much relatable to into any industry. Is that for new hires, if you're young, especially fresh out of school, yes, you have a lot of ideas, but whether or not these ideas can work or cannot work, it depends on the suitability, the feasibility studies, and all this thing takes experience that comes from your working. Okay, now that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you should just listen to whatever the bosses are saying or what. It's because Anna also mentioned that she wants the staff, right, to firstly, if you identify any problem, okay, that is hindering your work, solve it. Find ways to solve it. Now, if you identify issues that can be improved, then improve it. Don't wait for people to do it. Just do it yourself. Just get on the attitude of just, okay, this problem, let's solve it. Let's do. And they are very supportive. So this is something that I really like it, because I always believe that changes always comes from I always feel that changes always comes from fresh ideas, fresh mind. So this is something that I really, really, really think that is very good. So and I really looking forward towards how the staff within the Upstart can be able to do well. Okay. So the next person is the CFO, who is this guy called Sanjay. So he was also from Google, rather he worked in Google since 2005 to 2014. He also held a lot of different roles like financial directors for corporate revenues, sales finance director for the South and Eastern Europe, Middle East, as well as Africa. Then he also went on to become the VP of Finance for global ads. So you can tell that he is really a finance guy that's supported. Okay, and currently he's also a board member of the Pacific Community Ventures, which is a non-profit advisory. The role is to support minority business owners in the low-income communities. Now, this may not have a direct link, but I do see some indirect link here with the Upstart, where they wanted to help young people without any long credit history to take loan. Basically, like what Paul said in his words, that not to let people who don't have money have access to money as soon as possible. So that's so I look at it, hey, this guy, he's helping he's helping those minority business owners, in low income communities, to carry out some ventures. This kind of resonates well with what Upstart wants also. So I do see some synergy between the management team. Okay. Now, after understanding the management team, okay, what I always like to do is to understand the culture of the company. Now, if you're not from the company itself, it's really very hard for you to determine whether the culture is good or bad. So the best way out is to look at reviews. So the reviews that I always look at is Glassdoor. So from Glassdoor, we can see that 81% recommends Upstart to as a place to work. Now, 95% recommends the CEO whether it's good or bad. So if you look at it, a total of 117 reviews. So generally, that's how it is. Now, the point here is that, okay, I personally think, and I do read through the reviews, and I really think that you should read through the reviews and to understand them better. Now, there are pretty much some bad comments to say that, for example, they say that the working hours is very painful, it's very hectic, the CEO doesn't know what's going on and so on. Whether it's true or not, I can't really tell you. But what happened is that it is best to always read through this the comments, be whether it's good or bad. I have an understanding of what is it like, and so that you have the rough feeling of whether do you think that this company resonates with you. Okay, so this is what I always look at when I look at Glassdoor to look at a company's review. Now, moving on, I also tend to look at the board of directors. Not everyone, but basically just I don't delve in so detail because they're still, no matter what, still board of directors. But I still kind of look at it here and there. Okay, so let's move on for Jeff. Okay, so he was in Google since 2003 to 2016, and I think his highest rank is an SVP. So he's actually in quite a lot of boards for a lot of companies. So he's also a board of director for Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy for 5 years. He's also in Electronic Arts for 12 years. Ganalate, if I'm not wrong, for 3 years. Open Waters for 4 years. Mammoth Bioscience for 2 years. So I feel that this guy is really a bioscience kind of person, looking at his experience. Okay, but I pretty much say that he has quite a lot of experience in other boards. Okay, the next lady, okay, she was also from Google 2003 to 2009. Highest role that she held was the the president of the Asia Pacific Latin America's Ops. She's currently also in the board of director for TripAdvisor for 6 years now, and also for Urban Fitters for 4 years. Okay. The third person, Mary, she was from HP as a finance director. Move on to PayPal as a CFO, and then after that, CBS Interactive as CFO. She's also the board member for Finance Comms Chair for Kaiser Permanente Bernard J. Tyler School of Medicine, so basically the medical field, for 4 years. All right. The last guy is Karen Kelly, if I get this name right. Okay, so he currently is the COO for Square since 2020, rather since last year. He's the COO for Cash App Investing. Okay, so before that, he was actually sitting on the board of director for Square for 3 years. Okay, now he was also the MD for the Bank of America as well as Citibank way earlier. So I feel that among all the board of directors, okay, Kieran gives me a more position, or rather he allows me to see more resonates between him and Upstart and what he can contribute to. But of course, right, all the other board members are also having really good credentials. So now, what do I want to show all these things? The thing is that, the reason is that if Upstart is not a good company, for example, would all these people who are high flyers, okay, would they want to put their reputation on the line to be a board member for Upstart? Chances are no, right? So the reason why they're doing so is because there is something within Upstart that is worth looking at it. So this is how I see when I look at the history, or rather the profile of the board members. Okay, so I have come to the end of the video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week I'll probably talk about the financials, so I'll see you in the next video. So with that, I really appreciate and like and subscribe. Invest safe.